Greetings, everyone. Well, as you know, over the past while, I've been really enjoying getting caught up on the past 70 years worth of lore concerning everyone's favorite Cimmerian, Conan. I was gonna say, like, our man Conan, like it was the intro to a cheesy sitcom or something, but then I didn't. Anyway, as you know, I recently completed the collection of all the original Robert E. Howard stories, of which sadly there aren't a huge number, but definitely been enjoying checking those out. And of course the original compilation, and then we got all three movies, we got the TV series, and a couple volumes of the cartoon. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. No, because Conan has probably enjoyed the greatest success in comic book form, and there have been just, I'd say close to 1,000 comics of Conan over the years, between the original color Marvel Comics monthly series, and the black and white Savage Sword of Conan bi-monthly magazine format series, and then more recently Dark Horse Comics has done a bunch. Some other Marvel ones included, of course, King Conan, Kull the Conqueror, which isn't Conan, but it's kind of set in the same world, and in many ways was kind of the precursor to Conan. Yeah, so Dark Horse Comics, of course, has recently been reprinting, well, I guess for about the past 5 years or so, has been reprinting all of the original Marvel comics, and in very organized fashion. And you may recall a while back I picked up this, the first volume of the Savage Sword of Conan. Now, of course, these are the good old, phone book sized black and white volumes. Now, the thing is, of course, the Savage Sword of Conan was originally a black and white comic, so really, unlike black and white reprints of color comics, you're really not losing anything here. The only thing you're losing is the magazine size of the pages. So it's been shrunk down slightly to comic book size pages. But really, I mean, comic books are done on huge pages anyway, and then shrunk down to this page size. And all that does is make the fine details up here that much finer. So really, I don't know. I saw some Amazon reviews, or some people were bitching and moaning about the reduced page size format, and come on, people, like, you really don't know what you're talking about. All right. Anyway, yeah, really enjoyed Volume 1. Yes, I read the whole thing cover to cover. It took a while. It was kind of my bedtime reading for a while, and by the time I would crawl into bed, I'd be really tired to begin with, so I'd just kind of, read a couple of chapters or whatever and pass out. Well, I've really been wanting to continue the collection because, I mean, this is a tremendous value. You get a lot of Conan comics for your hard-earned dollar here. Each volume is about 21, 22 bucks. Sometimes you can find them online even cheaper. I think I got this one for about 15. And you get over 500 pages of Conan comics, which is pretty awesome. Now, the thing is, the Savage Sword of Conan was originally, it was obviously primarily focused on Conan, but it also featured the adventures of other Robert E. Howard characters. So you had occasionally, was it Brackman Morn? I can't remember if it's Bran Mac or Brackman. Anyway, that guy. You have some Kull the Conqueror stories from time to time. You have Solomon Kane. So what Dark Horse has done with their reprints is the Conan books just feature the Conan stories from those issues. And then they have other compilations of all the stories featuring the other characters. Which, on the one hand, purists might say, well, it would be nicer if they just followed the original format. Myself, I actually like having all those, character-specific ones together like that. I think it makes them nicely organized in a way that, for example, if you had a complete set of the original Savage Sword of Conan comics, and you just wanted to read the Kull stories, just have a Kull Fest or something, you'd have to be picking through all these issues to find those stories. I mean, would it be nicer just to have it in a book like this, where you could just read all the Kull stories back to back in one nice handy volume? Well, that's exactly what Dark Horse has done. So, thoroughly enjoyed Volume 1, really wanted to pick up Volume 2, but it seemed that the local comics shop had every single volume thus far of Savage Sword of Conan except Volume 2. They literally had Volumes 1 and then 3 through 10. So they had them all except the one I needed. So then they finally got it back in stock, and I wasted no time picking up Volume 2 of the Savage Sword of Conan. So the collection continues, another 544 pages or so of black and white, blood and guts, busty babes-filled Conan adventures, and that's what we're going to talk about today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Wow, my intros are just getting more and more long-winded. Anyway, it's been a while since I've done a Conan update, so I just kind of wanted to retread some of the backstory there a little bit for you. So, alright, so let's put this one away. Actually, one of the things I liked about this, of course, is a lot of the stories in it are adapted directly from the original Robert E. Howard stories. And then there's new stories which kind of fill in some of the continuity gaps and continue the adventures of some of the characters. Now, this one, I've not actually read the whole thing yet. I've just kind of been flipping through it, and I've just started it. But, you know, I took a little flip through it just to check out some of the artwork and to see what stories were adapted. And I was actually really delighted to see that in this particular volume, which covers all the Conan stories from issues 11 through 24 of the original Savage Sword of Conan magazine, almost every single story in this volume is adapted from the original Robert E. Howard stories. Some of them are even adapted and expanded from unfinished stories. So some of the bonus material that appears in the Del Rey collection has actually appeared before in comic book form with this. And I gotta say, Roy Thomas, who was the primary writer on Conan at the time, really does an outstanding job. I mean, he was obviously a huge fan of Howard's original stories and really wanted to do them justice in the comic book adaptations, because the ones that I read in the first volume there, I mean, they are almost verbatim adapted from the original stories. I mean, it's literally like seeing, you know, I mean, they're so faithful to the original stories. It's really just like seeing them brought to life in comic book form. You know, of all the various mediums that Conan has appeared in over the years, I have to say, I can definitely see why the comics have endured for so long, because of all the ones that I've seen, you know, the movies, the comics, the TV show and stuff, while they have elements of the original stories and the you know, elements that are true to the character and whatnot, nothing beats the comics, like as far as translating the material into another medium. I mean, it really is faithful. So let's get a bigger look at the cover here. I thought I'd do some nice high-res scans for you, just for shits and giggles. Are you shitting? Are you giggling? Anyway, yeah. So there's a nice closer look at the cover. Once again, some beautiful artwork by Boris Vallejo, who did a lot of the covers, actually. Both him and Frank Frazetta has done a lot of Conan artwork over the years. Like, a lot of the big names in fantasy have done Conan artwork. And as for the you know, sort of meat of the comics themselves, a lot of notable comics artists from the era tried their hand at the adventures of Conan over the course of it. I mean, you'll see a lot of artist names that you recognize. So, yeah, so one of the things, as I was saying, that I'm really enjoying about this volume is it's almost entirely adapted from, here, let me see if I can give you a look, some of the original stories. One of them is actually quite a lengthy adaptation that I believe spanned 4 issues of Savage Sword, and most of them were full-length stories that filled the issue. Like, there was no backup stories featuring other characters. I think one of the 4 issues had like a Bran MacMorn story or something like that. But it was a story called People of the Black Circle, which is actually one of the original stories that I read in the original compilation that I bought, and I really enjoyed that one a lot. It's got all the classic elements in it. It's got evil wizards and betrayal and double crosses and twists and turns. I mean, even just the first like 10 pages of the story, there's so many twists and turns. Like every time you think you know what's going on and the bad guys have their sort of plans, and then Conan shows up and completely throws things for a loop, and it's just a really fun romp of a story. It's a really great just fun adventure. You know, you got the obligatory beautiful girl that in this case is kidnapped by Conan to sort of hold for a ransom to you know, to have as ransom so he can free some of his guys who've been kidnapped by this, you know, this Sultan or whatever. And so the Sultan sort of has this plan for, oh, you know, we're going to double cross Conan and blah, 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 blah. So Conan shows up, and the Sultan sort of tries to begin to initiate his plan to get the better of Conan. And this girl shows up, and Conan just basically says, "What? There's someone at the door!" And he just grabs her and dives out the window and kidnaps her. And the Sultan's just like, "What the fuck just happened?" And that's just like the first 5 minutes, basically, and it just keeps going from there. There's like so many twists and turns in it, and it's also the story of a wizard who's actually the wizard to the Sultan guy, and he's, you know, very loyal to his order and such, and he gets tempted and corrupted by this woman with evil plans of her own, and he decides to use his power for his own personal gain rather than serving his masters, and that creates a whole new shitstorm. So you've got like Conan caught up in this war of wizards, basically, and it gets really nasty in parts, and it's just an absolute blast. Anyway, People of the Black Circle. If you ever get the chance to read the original story, by all means do. Or you can read the outstanding 4-part epic adaptation in Savage Sword of Conan Volume 2. So just to give you a look at some of the artwork here, let's see what we got. Let's see if I can find some nice big splash pages for you. Splash pages are always fun. What do we got here? Well, I'll see if I can get one where there's actually some action going on here. So we got, yeah, here we go. Ta-da! When the sun fell. Yeah, they'll sort of start off giving a story the original you know, the original title, and then they'll have all kinds of other stuff in there too. And again, my only complaint about these volumes, I mean, obviously the bulk of the stories were originally black and white within the magazine. However, the covers were of course in color, and sadly the covers are just reprinted in black and white here. It would have been nice if they'd done maybe what they did with the recent Ninja Turtles reprints, where they did have the covers in color, and then they just had like a sort of a slightly different printing style, and they had the covers in color, and they had the stories in their original black and white and whatnot. So if we, yeah, I thought this was pretty cool, sort of in this dark catacomb thing place there. Yeah, there's some pretty awesome artwork. I really enjoy the style of artwork in this. You really get a lot of that sort of almost sketch-like pen and ink kind of artwork, and there's some later ones here. Let me just skip ahead a little bit. It's actually one of the parts of People of the Black Circle. Let me just see if I can find. Is it People of the Black Circle? No, I think it's actually the story that follows it. So we've got, sorry, just take me a moment to find it here. Oh, there we go. Well, this isn't the one I was looking for, but it's still kind of a cool picture of Conan all tied up, facing some horrible tentacled creature emerging from the pit. There's also sort of a lot of pin-up style pictures like that give you the yeah. If you take a look here, you get this this style of artwork as well. This beautiful black and white artwork with all kinds of nice shading and whatnot to give it more texture. Yeah, just beautiful stuff. I'm really just constantly impressed. I mean, just look at the level of detail in that forest scene there. I mean, that's fantastic. If you're wondering the time frame that these stories are from, these were originally published in 1976, I believe. So we're still very much in the early days of Savage Sword. Yeah, 1976 to 77. Yeah, so 76, 77. I don't know that it was... Yeah, it was originally monthly, actually. I didn't realize that, but they originally published it monthly, and then eventually it went to bi-monthly. I guess because Roy Thomas, poor guy, was just kind of doing double duty. He was writing the Savage Sword, and then he was writing the regular Conan comics as well. And when did that man sleep? You know, it's just totally immersed in the world of Conan for like 10 years or thereabouts. And he also wrote the screenplay for Conan the Destroyer, which I've since learned was apparently altered quite a bit in the final filmed version. And if you poke around online a bit, apparently you can find Roy Thomas's original script for the film, and apparently it's quite a bit better than what we actually got on screen. And after reading a lot of his comic stories, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, the man knows Conan. He really does. I don't know of any other writer who is more faithful to the character. I mean, even the handful of original Roy Thomas Conan stories that I read in the first volume there, even they very much had the feel of a good old Robert E. Howard story. You know, I mean, they really captured that essence that a lot of other writers over the years have tried to capture, but apparently just haven't quite nailed it as well. Anyway, the collection continues. So, yeah, now that, you know, regular funds are coming in and whatnot, and the fact that these volumes really aren't that expensive, and you do get a lot of value out of them, that's for sure. Oh, excuse me, long day at work today. Now that I have, you know, more regular income, I definitely plan to finish this collection a lot more quickly, just before they disappear. But of course, after buying Volume 2, I popped by the local comic shop the other day just to see if they had the next one. And lo and behold, wouldn't you know it, now the only volume they don't have is Volume 3. I swear, somebody out there is just fucking with me. It's driving me crazy. So, yeah, so I don't know, maybe once or twice a month I'll pick up another volume of that, and we'll see if we can round out the set. So I know for sure there's 10 volumes. I think there's an 11th either that just came out or is on its way very shortly. So, yeah, grand total, I mean, they did close to, I think, 300 issues of Savage Sword, and they did like 200 something of the regular monthly comics as well. So, yeah, a lot of Conan comics to enjoy over the next few years. Well, I'm definitely enjoying the ride so far. Alrighty, that is it from me to you for now. So until next time, thanks for watching, and sayonara. I forgot my pants again.